These truths to be self-evident. Whew. What's up, everybody? What's up? One of my late night lives. It's out here chilling. Man, it's been a long day. It's your man Rico the Opinionist. One of my last few that I'll be doing on this Facebook page. I'm going strictly YouTube, and probably some TikTok and all that. But so I guess congratulations goes out to, I guess, the Cowboy fans. Y'all beat Tom Brady and his people, Patriots, I guess, whoever they are, Buccaneers. Oh shit, I don't know. But I went to the parade today. Shout out to South Dallas and the MLK annual MLK parade. I've gone for the last few years. I guess faithfully passing out my newsletter, wearing a cool T-shirt, something like this. I didn't wear this one today. This one says I'm not a nigger nor a nigga, but the one I wore today, it said at the parade, and got quite a few compliments, and I think a young lady took a picture of it. It may see me floating around on social media somewhere. It's a young person, so yeah, their stuff is a little different than grown people over 40, hell, over 50. And then that shirt said, "Stop saying nigger and nigga, stupid." I like that shirt. I came up with that. I got quite a few T-shirts that I've come up with, but went to the parade, got up early, went to bed late, got up early this morning, and got together and got all my flyers. One of the flyers was talking about, I read it to you, I think. One of them was talking, I had two flyers this year. One flyer was talking about black males. I did a whole article on that. It was black males matter all year round, not just during football and basketball season. And I'm talking about how America, and particularly the black community, has really failed as it relates to the protection of black boys and black men. And as among other things, and the other one said, Dr. King's dream destroyed black America. Damn, we should have listened to Malcolm X. So I passed out those two newsletters today. Had about 300 copies, and I put them on cards, and I also put them in people's hands. And as always, I really appreciate it when I put it in people's hands, or attempt to put them in their hands, because, South Dallas, parts of Dallas, and just like parts of wherever you live, that is heavily populated with no African-American black folks, and then particular income, and then just like my hometown of Memphis, Tennessee, you have areas where the literacy rate is not very high. And also, it's just a segment of our people this segment, in my opinion, is too large. Where you're like, hey, check out my newsletter. And a lot of the guys what's that? Or as I'm handing them the newsletter, they're trying to read it in my hand. I was like, go ahead and take it, man. It's not going to burn your fingers. And I think that we've been trained as a group in this country as it relates to something that sounds like it's going to teach us better. Because if we learn better, that means we have to put our feet to the ground and do some work. And I don't think we don't want to wake up from La La Land. I think that's why so many of us, we do so many things to distract us from the work that needs to be done in our race. Yes, I'm saying the word race, because I don't know about a lot of y'all. I don't have a problem with my race. I have a problem with some of the behaviors and the conditions of a lot of our people, because the games are still being played on foundational black Americans, American descendants of slaves. The political games, the economic games, the education games, the economic games, I said, they're still being played. Racism is still real, but we've survived. We've made it through. And so whenever I go to South Dallas, they had one in Fort Worth, and they had one out in Arlington and stuff, and the suburbs or whatever. But I like to go where we are because I like to go where I know the need is great. And the information that I share, our people need to hear it. In my opinion, I think we need to hear it. And I have to realize some of our people don't know how to read and don't care to know how to read. And I smelled quite a few sections of blunt smoke in the parade. It's just part of it. Damn near every 13th person, every 10th person smokes weed. It is what it is. So it's not me passing judgment or thinking I'm better or anything like that. I'm just pointing out the observations. And, and I'm always looking into the eyes of our children whenever I go to the inner city, the hood. I'm always looking in black children's eyes. And I see... I see hustle. I see, how far they've come, what they've been taught. And you can even see what they don't know by the behavior. There was a lot of families out there. There's a lot of men with their families and quite a few women with their children. And, of course, the hood, ratchet, whatever, blah, blah, blah. It's just part of it. It was a mix of everybody out there. Older people, young people, kids, teenagers, babies. It was, it's a parade. But I'm always looking at the condition of our people in this particular area of Dallas. Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, Pine Street, Atlanta Street, all up around there. And every time you go to the inner city, is always somebody with a campaign sign saying, vote for me. Whenever you go, it never fails. You go to the inner city. Yeah, I know they have them in the suburbs, but the suburbs are fine. But it's so interesting that these same politicians, black, white, what have you, but mainly these black folks, these well-groomed black folks, these well-groomed black men, these well-groomed, professionally dressed black women, give me your vote because we're going to make a change. Give me your vote because we're going to make a change. They do that all the time. Y'all know something that's really messed up about that whole situation? They have those signs littered in in these inner cities. But as soon as these black politicians, the white ones, get elected, they ignore for the next 2, 4, or 7 years, depends on if they run for state representative, city council, mayor, Senate, U.S. Senate, whatever it is, they ignore those very folks where they go in and beg for their votes in these black or these poor neighborhoods. And that bothers me. And this parade, and I got confirmation from my friend in Memphis. And then I saw this on the news in Fort Worth. These parades, somehow, it was very interesting. The parade in South Dallas, the parade in Fort Worth, I saw it on the news. And I was given confirmation by my friend in Memphis that these parades this year were really heavy with black Greeks. We were both trying to see what's that about. You're getting a parade. I just want to say, and I love you, I swear I do, the people that I know who are members of the Divine Nine. Y'all know we go way back with this conversation. And whenever we see each other, those that I know, we're always respectful to one another. And I want to maintain that respect. And if there's a friendship involved, remain there. But I cannot not talk about everything that I see. And it's interesting. It's okay to be in a parade. But the Divine Nine organizations have access, political, economic, educational access that could really change the hood in 3 weekends. So you have to ask, what is it about them? Steve Coakley talks about them all the time. Talked about them before his passing, rest in power, brother. And I saw that, and it was heavily Masonic down there too as well. I think a lot of them were volunteers. But, you have all these people who come around like special occasions, but you don't see them ordinarily every day. And I'm going to get to my point of this whole King holiday. As I was walking through there with my shirt and people were checking it out, and said, man, you right, man. You right. People need to stop saying that. And then one lady, I guess, and thought it was funny. She's like, hey, nigga. Some sister. We play too much, and and sometimes we just don't know any better. Dr. Joy Leary wrote a book called Post-Traumatic Slave Syndrome, and there are plenty of books, and there are plenty of research articles that's out there that talks about the brain damage that was done to black folks, not only through the 200 years of the chattel slavery, but the slave codes, as well as 100 more years of legalized segregation, or they call the Southern Jim Crow laws. Man, we were fucked up. They messed us up. Even though a lot of us have tried to shake it off and do well, but we still, the core of blacks, the core of our race is still messed up. And all you have to do is go to the inner city and just look and see how our people are so messed up. And it's just a shame that we walk around here. Yeah, we're all blessed and lucky to have the jobs that we have and live where we live, as long as it's not the hood. But then we go back to the hood and treat it like the red-headed stepchild, like you don't want nobody to know that you're there unless you go there to smoke, drink, have sex, party, but you don't go there to do any real work. So if y'all kind of stick with me. And so as I was watching the news, the people, they say the same thing over and over every year, because I had to do some introspection and some do some rethinking of how I view Dr. King. You know, we've read all the books, we've heard all the speeches, but you know, and like when I wrote yesterday my article, you know, Dr. King, he didn't know any better. He was being manipulated. I keep saying he was manipulated. But when he woke up and actually heard the voice of God, shout out to Nat Turner, that's when he got on the right path. You know, whenever you say God is at work, the devil gets busy. And when he got to work, he was talking about, where's our check? Where we're coming to get our check? Where's our money? Where's our river? Then when Dr. King started talking like that, even his own fellow preachers distanced themselves from him. His own fraternity brothers and the members of the Divine Nine distanced themselves from him. And even few of them even allegedly, reportedly, participated in his murder. See, it lets me know that these people in these organizations, they have no interest in freedom. They have no interest in freedom. They found a comfortable place under racism, white supremacy. They just want the good job. They want the seats on the board. They want to say, well, I'm this, I'm that, I'm head of this, I'm head of that. For real. And I'm not hating. I'm telling you, it's no cap. It's all you gotta do is just pay attention. But I know a lot of us don't want to pay attention the way Malcolm X did, the way Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad did. You know, the way Dr. Francis Cress Welsing did. We don't want to pay attention, because we pay attention, it's going to drive y'all to start acting like me, pointing out the pink elephant in the black living room. Because it's easy to get up and say, yeah, you racist white man, you racist white. That's the easy part. The hard part is what Dr. King was talking about in his last 2 years, and why that those very groups of blacks, they didn't want to hear that. Because that meant they had to do some work. And number two, that meant they had to come together with other blacks to make this happen. You know, again, like the way the Haitians did, led by, what's his name, Toussaint Overture, that's his name. And we don't want that smoke. You know, and it saddens me to actually watch this. I was like, damn, am I gonna have to see a therapist for the rest of my life to get this off of me? Because it sucks to see what other people pretend not to see. They walk past it, because we've all, I think, in our own way, and some people in a very direct way, we've chosen a strategy by which we can survive under white supremacy. You know, I remember Mr. Farrakhan quoting something that Elijah Muhammad said. He said, a lot of us, we've kneeled in, we've crawled in, we've slept in, we've prayed, tried to pray our way in, anything, and to get into the house of no acceptance under racism, white supremacy. Now, America's not a horrible, horrible place, but it's messed up for how this government continues to use that benign neglect on black folks. Y'all know what benign neglect is? It came from Brother Neely Fuller and Dr. Claude Anderson. What's up, Dr. Claude? He's still with us. You know, benign neglect, for those of you who don't know what that means any politician, any leader who's in any position of power is never, ever, 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 and I'm using Dr. Claude Anderson words, never, 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 never to mention anything specifically for black folks. and you notice your politician who you love, who you vote for, you ask them anything specifically about black people, the way Dr. King did. When Dr. King spoke about reparations and people being mistreated, he didn't say black and brown, LGBT, immigrants. He said black people. And I don't understand how we read. It's like you have a book and you have 12 chapters. You read up to chapter 9, then you stop and you don't go no further ever. You just talk about those first 9 chapters. Well, Dr. King had 2 more chapters left, his last 2 years of his life, and we refused to go there because that's when he and Malcolm X got on the same page. A lot of you have been taught that Malcolm was like the opposite of King, in meaning pushing violence and segregation. Every group sociologically practices, every ethnic and racial group practices, sociologically speaking, group economics, cultural group norms and mores and folkways. Every group does that. But somehow black people have been suckered out of that, shamed to be around only blacks and be political for blacks only, be educational for blacks only, be economical for blacks only. And that's what Dr. King was talking about. I guess this year, y'all, I had an epiphany. Come on, somebody. And we're just living in la-la land, mentally living in la-la land. And stuff is happening to us every day. Even as we look on the news, and we watch something like Democracy Now, we don't want to watch C-SPAN. C-SPAN, you see what's being done to black Americans every day, undermined it every day. Ukrainians get $68 billion. My girl Mary Max just put out a report on her page, and I just put it on my RicotheOpinionist page. They're going to start receiving SSI over in Ukraine because of the war. And they're talking about our little Social Security in this country leaving. And they're setting up a whole system of them to get SSI. I understand what Dr. King was talking about. I understand clearly now why he was murdered. And so when I was watching those news articles today on local news here in Dallas-Fort Worth, and the news reporter will ask all the same questions, and all the people will say the same thing. So what is this Dr. King Day? What does King Day mean to you? Well, it meant with Dr. King's dream for us to come together and let us know that we're really no different than anyone else. We should come together as a people, as one. Every male and female, black, white, or other, says that same thing. They never ever say what Dr. King truly meant. He meant for black folks to finally get what's called racial justice in this country. Well, y'all don't like to hear that, huh? A lot of black folks don't want to do that because white corporate America took it and sanitized him and made him somebody that they could sell. They won't sell that last 2 years of Dr. King when he woke up and heard the voice of God. Shout out to Nat Turner again. And so, because after that parade today, it really just dawned on me. Why the fuck we keep having these parades? You're not celebrating Dr. King's legacy. And then you got this black dude in Boston create this the city of Boston. Let me tell y'all how they're so disrespectful to black folks. City of Boston paid $10 million for this ugly ass statue. Of it's called The Embrace, but this black dude did it. But I'm telling you, we so messed up. Now, on social media, they were trying to show us, what the statue is supposed to look like. A huge statue, sculpture. $10 million. You know what $10 million could have done to black residents of the city of Boston? See, this is what I'm saying. We don't even know the insults when they do it right in our faces. They can come up with $500 million for stadiums and build it right around the black neighborhood and displace all the black folks. But you go to the city council and ask for $5 million for development or empowerment project for your neighborhood. Well, we have to build on it. We don't. It's not in the budget. We have to see. They do politicking over it. But when they put, what's it, Anthony? He said, that one that looks like porn. Yeah, man, that ugly ass, that ugly statue. And so then they're going to show the original picture of it when it's actually Dr. King and his wife, Coretta Scott King, hugging each other, embracing. But this jackass cut the top of them off and just showed their arms. It looks like a huge penis. I think her cousin came out and said it's ugly. Coretta Scott King's cousin. And it's like, well, dude, it's $10 million. You mean you just couldn't do the whole picture of him and her hugging? You did just the elbows? That shit look crazy. And damn, they said his name. But dude, who did that sculpture, that shit is ugly. It is. And so, I go back to, why are we doing these damn parades? Nothing comes of them. They do the same old crap once a year. And oh yeah, let me continue what they're saying in the news. This is a day of service. This is a day we give back. Dr. King gave back every goddamn day, not once a year. How come we can't clean up a cemetery? How come we can't clean up the neighborhood or the park every month or every 2 weeks? How come we can't do that then? Why we wait once a year to live out King's legacy? We're playing games. We have no interest in helping each other this black. We have no interest. Just say it. I have no interest in really doing the work that Dr. King did, Malcolm did, Marcus Garvey did, Medgar Evers, Fannie Lou Hamer, Ida B. Wells Barnett. We have no interest. Bethune, Mary McLeod Bethune. We have no interest in doing the work. All we want are titles and positions. And social media stuff. And I guess, hey, what's up? Social media status, to the point that, well, this is where we are now. And the work is not done on social media. The work is done in the streets. I mean, we have so many brilliant blacks. I mean, educated at least. But they're educated away from their people. They're educated to be employees of white corporations and white systems. Someone brought up the CRT thing when white folks said, oh, no, they're talking about history and making white people look bad. So they cut out, I guess, anything that talked about the history of America that made white folks look bad. And I didn't give a shit. Personally, I didn't care. Because as black parents, just like Jews, Italians, Asians, every other group teaches their children the history of who they are. But black people won't do it. And that is, we can continue to blame racism, white supremacy, because racism, white privilege, all this stuff is not going to go away. But at least we could do the work the way the very people did who were just freed from chattel slavery. How come people who were not allowed to learn how to read, write, but they came out from slavery, chattel slavery, and built whole cities and towns, thriving. And see, but we don't even, look, I don't think we even know the hint or the half of racism compared to what those people went through. Their first 300 years over here, all the way up to 1965, 1975. Blatant, boy, gal, you can't sit here. You eyeballing me, boy? That's what they went through. Killings at will, murdering and stuff. Yeah, we can't even do nothing with the little police stuff today. And those people literally had to live through that. We got all this technology, all this toughness, we can't do nothing with the police right now. So when I see people doing stuff once a year, I just look at them and like, y'all full of shit. Y'all got all these organizations and groups and still have not made a dent in any of these black communities. You have your chance with these huge platforms to really make a difference, but you just won't. And I know what it is. It's fear. Just say you're scared. This whole Dr. King thing, and I'm going to go back to that question that I went off, I veered away from it, but I'm going to go back to it. Why the hell we keep having these parades? I just think it's just a display of arrogance and showboating, because we don't really benefit from the damn things. There's nothing wrong with a parade. I like the holiday parades, Thanksgiving and Christmas parades. They're cool. But we have these parades like this MLK. We don't have any Malcolm X parades. How come we don't have Malcolm X parade? Because we've been taught that Malcolm X is not of us. He's just of the Nation of Islam. But Malcolm X was our people. Malcolm X was for all of us. And if we had followed Malcolm X's lead, we would be just like Asians. We'd be just like Jews. We'd be just like immigrants. We'll be a sovereign people with their own stuff, their own stores, their own school, their own set of knowledge. We'll be our own people, respected by other people. Everybody just play all over black folks. Hell, even black folks play over the masses of blacks. And that bothers me. There are a lot of you who are in positions to do better, but won't. And so, this year just something inside me just changed. And I've been very critical of Dr. King. As I read more and more about him, and I always say, you need to read the Testament of Hope. You need to read this. I don't need to read none of that shit because I saw it. I'm sorry. I've read some of his stuff, but I haven't read those thick-ass books. I don't need to remember all the speeches. Why do y'all read Dr. King's books and y'all scared to put his books, his words into practice? And I'm not talking about the one that's easy, holding hands with white folks, saying this dumb shit like black and brown, when brown never says black and brown. If y'all gonna follow Dr. King's books, I read all of Dr. King. I read the letter from the Birmingham jail. Who gives a shit? See, I am a social worker. And for us, we learn theory and stuff in class, but we're put out here to put the theory into practice. Stop reading all these damn books that talk about action. And you just want to be able to say, well, I read this book, I read that book. Every scholar that you read, they let you know they were out in the streets with some action, most of them. Have you read anything about Malcolm or Dr. King or Fannie Lou Hamer or Ida B. Wells? Those men and women were in the streets. Working with us, working with the people. We let people, we so messed up, we let some weird ass shit like Black Lives Matter be like the biggest demonstration. That was some foolishness. Again, since we don't know who we are and don't care to know, we let a bunch of dykes, a bunch of lesbians, black chicks with white girlfriends and white wives use and exploit the murder of black men to get $90 million out of Negroes and others. And as soon as they got their money, where did they move to? Right next door in the neighborhood with the so-called evil white man. You can't make this shit up. Shout out to Kevin Samuels. And we just be playing games. We don't want to know. And that's fine. Look, y'all, I don't know all. I'm just sharing my thoughts, just like my little vlog here. And we're going to have to do better. All we want to do is sit around and laugh. Laughter is fun, but hell, that's all black people do. We laugh, we try to, and when stuff is serious, we try to find a joke in. I just look at social media. Some Negro comes up with something and try to make a joke out of a serious situation, or find some way to try to make it not that serious. I'm so glad that those people came before me who took things seriously so we can be the little lackadaisical assholes that we are today. Privileged, entitled assholes that we are today. And and having a damn parade, that's not celebrating Dr. King. Dr. King wanted reparations for us. Malcolm X wanted us to be together as a unit. He wanted us to connect with Africans. We're gonna have to get them straight. Once we get us together, we're gonna have to get them goddamn Africans together too. Because the Africans got a lot of them. They be talking cash money millionaire crap. We're gonna have to remind them, don't fly y'all ass over here off the backs of American blacks. Y'all are lazy. Y'all don't take advantage of the American education system. Y'all are lazy. First of all, Ubuntu. First of all, eBay. God damn it, you're able to fly over here because of the brutality and the sacrifices made by American blacks. At least American blacks wear deodorant, you musty bastards. So anyway, let me tell y'all something that I'll start paying attention to stuff. Y'all know for the past few years, Dr. King has been really disrespected by blacks. This shit is weird. You know, good white folks be trying to do Dr. King. Oh yeah, you love. But you know, we don't respect our leaders. We don't respect our scholars. You know, we don't. We think they're not very relevant. And if y'all could do the research on Dr. John Henry Clark, or Dr. Francis Cress Welsing, Dr. John D. Jackson, all these scholars of the 50s and 60s who called holy hell from the white establishment because they were talking to black people about the Africanists and running circles around the so-called white racists back then in debates and all of that, killing them. And we just think everything is funny, and we purposely ignore the great works of Dr. Ben Yakahanan, who's second in command, the man who took over for him. Brother Aswa Kwesi, who's right here in Dallas. You know, we don't pay honor to our scholars. Dr. Claude Anderson is hanging on. He's about to be 90 years old. Still trying to teach black folks about their money. Get their money, man. As a group, and how to do it, and reparations, and a group economics. We don't care. It's the most amazing thing to observe. It's the most amazing thing to observe black Americans. We're everybody's sociological experiment. We're everybody's economic ATM. Everybody's found successes off of things that we say, oh, we don't want that. You know, and for the past 5 years, or at least 4, you got Negroes, these Negro promoters, party promoters. And I was like, it never dawned on me, who the fuck want to go to a club in celebration of Dr. King's birthday? Who does that? Unless you're an ignorant, backwards, low-down, retarded, self-hating jackass. Why would you want to go to a party on Friday night for Dr. King's birthday bash or some shit like that? Why would you do that? And why would you, as a promoter, put on the flyer Dr. King wearing hip-hop, remember, not hip-hop, but chains, gold chains, holding some Dos Equis, and I mean, whatever the hell that shit is, the Douce, holding bottles of whiskey, alcohol, and that old funk-ass Rihanna. Last year, we had, and people barely got on her. Y'all didn't cancel his broad or nothing. But she had him with a grill in his mouth. Why would y'all allow that? Then come and have a damn parade about a man you disrespect every damn year. There's something wrong with the Negro American. I say that because I know what's wrong with Negro American, with the Negro American. You know, Dr. Joy Leary wrote the book Post-Traumatic Slave Syndrome, and she explains it. We won't read it, because it means we got to change this Negro behavior if we read books like that. I don't want to hear about that black stuff. You know, we got black people to kill each other. We got all that. We've been over that. But we're going to get it one day. And again, back to these old punk-ass party promoters. Stop disrespecting Dr. King. Don't do that. It's in poor taste. It lets you know you have no respect for him. Why would you try to throw a party? Well, how about you throw a gathering of the people? All you party promoters that can bring up to 2,000 people to your event, or 1,000 people to your event. How about you have people come in, and if you want to celebrate Dr. King, bring them out and talk about his words. I mean, the real words from 67 and 68. Talk about those words. You don't throw a damn twerk party. I mean, I saw one where they had Dr. King. Shout out to O'Shea Duke Jackson, who brought all of them out on YouTube. I had already been seeing the one where he had a Casamigo bottle, and it's a club in Nashville, Tennessee. Please find out who that is. Y'all get on their ass. Get on that club. Get on the promoters. Because this is my vow. If I see it, I'm going to get the emails, address it, address them. Who the fuck y'all supposed to be? And why would y'all disrespect them? We're going to have to stop allowing people to disrespect our scholars, and our ancestors and our leaders. We're going to have to stop it. As a community, even those ignorant bums who want to promote parties, I tell you what, you can throw your MLK party, but keep Dr. King's image out of that bullshit. Don't put no chains on his neck. Don't put no hat on his head banging to the left. Don't put no football jersey on Dr. King. That man, he was nothing like that at all. There was no hood or thug and ghetto nowhere near Dr. King. The man had a PhD. Do y'all understand? Don't disrespect him. He was a scholar. He was a great orator. He gave his life for niggas. And that just upsets me. And I'm just saying, as a community, as a race, whenever we see this disrespect for Malcolm, disrespect for Dr. King, disrespect for any of the people who we know went through pure hell trying to teach us, our entitled, our privileged asses. You know, Fred Hampton, Huey P., and the rest of the Panthers. You know, we should get on their ass right then and there, as they say, on sight. No, you're not going to do that. Find one of these old punk-ass rappers that you like. Disrespect them. When these lame-ass TV actors that be in weird-ass TV shows, get on them. But don't disrespect our scholars. Because they gave up their mental health. They gave up their physical health. They gave up their economic health so we can have our entitled, privileged asses here today to make fun of them, to disrespect them, to minimize them. And so that's the assignment I want to give us. Whenever we see a flyer next year, because April 4th is coming up, and some asshole is going to try to throw another Dr. King party. That's when he died. I don't know if they may have a party theme after that, but definitely in January for his birthday, they do that. You know, we have to stop this. We literally have to clean up. And Minister Farrakhan spent 50 years trying to tell Negroes, clean up, clean up. We have to clean up spiritually because the church is not happening. The church is not working. They go in there dirty, come out funky. It's not helping. I'm sorry. The church, they're making worse sinners, worse thoughts, worse thugs, worse degenerates, worse weirdos. So y'all stop going up in there and they talking about the hospitals for the sick. There's a lot of sick ass folks in there. That's why I don't go to church, because I'm not that kind of sick. I mean spiritually sick. They spiritually sick too. So we're gonna have to do something different. And I want y'all to join me in these lames who try to throw these parties with Dr. King's image on it, make him look like a street thug and a nothing ass dude. We have to charge him up, call him out, protest the party. That's the kind of work we need to be doing as a group. You know, and next year, you know, hopefully, you know, we won't have to wait until his birthday again to do have what is called a day of service. And you know why people do all this shit every year? So they can get on the news. That's all, just to get on the news. Everybody trying to get on the, yeah, we was out there giving back. We was giving away food and stuff. How come y'all don't give food away every day? Y'all think people only get hungry on King's birthday? Y'all slow. And whenever I go, and I can pick anywhere I want to go for a parade. I can just keep it all suburban, but I have to go to the inner city so I can see. See, when you go to the inner city, you can see just how much America gives a shit about black folks. Go to the hood, and also you can see just how much politicians couldn't care less about whether you lived or died in these inner cities. And every time, again, when I go to the inner city, I always see a million goddamn signs out talking about some vote for me. And it's mainly these damn Democrats in these poor cities. I mean, these poor areas of these cities. And not Republicans. Republicans are all in the suburbs. And you know what? That's why the suburbs look like the suburbs, because they have Republican representation. And let me tell you something about you son of a bitches who live in the suburbs. But you bring your ass to South Dallas or Pleasant Grove or Oak Cliff and tell your poor-ass relatives, your broke relatives who live in the jungle, to tell them to vote Democrat. You know damn well you don't live in a Democratic district anymore. Your children don't even attend schools in a Democratic district. Your children attend schools in Republican represented districts. Y'all know what I'm talking about. So you live in Dallas-Fort Worth, but your kids go to school in McKinney. Your children go to school in Plano, Frisco, the Colony, Louisville. But you come to South Dallas and Oak Cliff and try to vote out there and try to convince your family members to vote Democrat. You disingenuous, lame-ass, lying mother lover. You ought to be ashamed of yourself. So that's your way of keeping it black, by keeping people voting Democrat. But you don't even live there. But you bring your ass from Frisco, Louisville, Little Elm, hell, Waxahachie, all the places where got Republican representation, and you black, but you bring your ass back to the hoods where it's Democratic represented, and you encourage them to vote for Democratic candidates. You ain't shit. And it never dawned on me, that's how black folks been doing for years. They moved out the hood that's Democratic represented. They moved to the beautiful suburb. Their kids go to multicultural, these schools with all the new stuff and all that. Know damn well those are Republican-led school systems. Because they kid usually the only a few black kids in the school. And they bring their ass out of Louisville, Frisco, the Colony, what else? Garland, Plano, all that. And come to Oak Cliff and in South Dallas to tell them to vote for Democratic candidates. God damn, this shit needs to be called out. Don't let me be the only one to call this out. Okay? And that's wherever you live. It can be Dallas and Memphis. It can be Chicago. It can be whatever major city that has a large black population. Check out your relatives that live in the suburbs, but then they tell you to vote for the son of a bitch that keep your neighborhood raggedy and keep the funding limited to the schools where your children attend and allow the crime to be high as hell. But where they live, the crime is low because it's Republican-led. And this is not a promo for the Republican Party. I'm just telling y'all the goddamn truth. I challenge any one of you to go. If you live in a suburb, go look up who your city council rep is and find out what side of the political aisle he or she is on. If you live in a beautiful suburb, there ain't no damn Democrats out there. So y'all need to cut that out. Y'all are helping to keep people poor, keep people disenfranchised because you are able to get out. You need to stop that. And I'm going to talk more about that as this year progresses in 23, because we're doing a whole lot of, as I call, racial self-sabotaging. Yeah, you got out, but you trying to make sure others don't get out. It's almost like when let's say Clarence Thomas. And someone gave this great scenario about Clarence Thomas. Clarence Thomas used a ladder of affirmative action to get hired in a particular job. But then when he made it, he pulled the ladder up and shoved it up in the attic so nobody else could come up behind him. That's what they accused Clarence Thomas of doing. But guess what? It's not just Clarence Thomas. Every Negro that's moved to a beautiful suburb with a house of $300,000 have done that. You don't think you're doing that, but you do. Come in, drive your nice car out there. You're very clean suburban kids. Y'all come out there and visit your little hood cousins in they Democratic-led hoods. Democratic shit. State representative, Democrat. School board, Democrats. City council, Democrats. But you go to your suburb, Republican. And they ain't black Republicans either, they white. So y'all cut the bullshit out. School board superintendent, Republican, white guy. And y'all say, well, we got some excellent schools out there. Oh, really? So anyway, I digress. I just wanted to share that in closing of the Dr. King holiday for me. Y'all share this live. This is one of the last ones going to be on this Facebook page. Thank you for listening. Share. And we'll talk again in the future. But come to my YouTube channel, Rico the Opinionist. That's where I'll be from here on out. I don't care what it is. I may throw some nuggets here and there on my Facebook page, but I'm finna go ahead and try to get this monetization on this YouTube channel. For those of you who helped me get to 200, thank you so much. Let's push me on to get to 500, and after that, hey, we get to 1,000, man. Monetization, let's do this. We can take some calls and all that kind of stuff. But right now, I thank you so much for getting me to 200 subscribers. And those of you who hadn't heard yet, I have this short story. It's only $10. It's in a PDF format. It's entitled "The Greatest Pain Ever Felt." Conversation with absent biological father who dared to be found. If you hit me on the Cash App, $ Rico the Opinionist, RicotheOpinionist. Hit me with an email address so I can send it right back to you. What else? Yeah, just I appreciate you. Hope y'all enjoyed your King holiday. I'm out because I have to get up and I have clients tomorrow. I'm still trying to save lives. Talk to y'all later. Be cool. Peace.